Newt Gingrich is being asked about marijuana and should we legalize it. He has a non-surprising answer here. Let's watch the first part.
I'm opposed to it. I think I see no evidence in the European experiments with decriminalization. I see no particular evidence that it works. And I see substantial evidence, you go to places like Holland, that you increase the dependency rate and you increase actually the amount of crime. And so I'm very, very cautious about it.
As usual, not based in fact at all, not just about Holland, but he said European overall. And we've shown you a great number of statistics on Portugal and how crime has gone down and drug usage has gone down when they legalize. So not surprising at all that Newt Gingrich would lie about that. But the second part of this is interesting. Someone asked him about the Founding Fathers and how they would react to marijuana, because of course they know what the Founding Fathers did. Apparently Newt Gingrich doesn't. Here's his answer to that question.
I think Jefferson or George Washington would have rather strongly discouraged you from growing marijuana, and their techniques of dealing with it would have been rather more violent than the current government.
More violent than the current government. They would have strongly dealt with it. Well, then they would have had to do violence against themselves. Washington and Jefferson both grew marijuana. It was part of the plants that they had on their farms in Virginia. Oops. Now, back then, marijuana was largely used for products like rope and textiles. The person asking that question knew that. And, of course, Gingrich is like, oh, I'll tell you what, the Founding Fathers, I know what they would have done. Somebody growing pot or smoking it or selling it in any way, they'd have laid a hammer down. What? They did? Well, I thought you were a historian, Newt. What happened? Oh, you didn't know that in your history. There are other, by the way, real historians who believe that 7 early presidents smoked hashish as well. So I don't know how hard they would have been on themselves. By the way, that's a tradition that's carried on by current presidents. Both President Bush and President Obama have smoked marijuana in the past. That hasn't stopped either one of them from jailing millions of people on marijuana charges, right? So the hypocrisy goes on. By the way, speaking of so-called getting tough, here's what Newt Gingrich wants to do. He has suggested in the past that we should have laws like Singapore does, where they execute smugglers. So, if he had applied that to the Founding Fathers, Newt Gingrich would have executed George Washington and Thomas Jefferson before the Revolution. Nicely done, Newt.